Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the My Reader Minutes. This is about love and marriage Huntsville. This is episode 30, 40. I don't know. We're up there. Anywho, everything on this recording, this video is alleged and in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Please like, share, subscribe. So let's get into it. Okay, so they start off and everybody in the house is going to uh gather together to do this team building exercise that Chris and Nell have put together. And they're doing that old trust issue exercises where someone stands in front of you and the third person behind you has to catch you. So they started pairing people up, and I want to say they paired Stormy and Tisha up together, which was cute. Um, they obviously are going through something. More so Tisha than Stormy, because Stormy didn't see an issue with them teaming up, but Tisha did not trust Stormy for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't understand why she didn't trust her, but anywho, if anything, it should have been the other way around, I think. But she finally works it out and is able to fall back and have Stormy catch her. But when it was reversed and Stormy was leaning back for Tisha to catch her, you saw a little hesitance in Tisha, as if to say, I should let her fall. It was for a split second. It didn't last long, but you saw it. Mean girl. Anywho, so then Nell says, all right, come on, Melody and Martell. Nell, what are you doing? What are you doing? You are still not abiding by what Mel said. She said, don't couple us up, don't pair us up. And you did it anyway. And especially with this particular exercise, she doesn't want that man touching her. Nell is messy. And she tries to hide behind, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think about it, blah, 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 blah. You know, she's messy and she's bringing mess. I don't know if this is just for the show because the cameras are on or what, but she's being very messy. And I did not like it. But, you know, Melly didn't say anything. She went over there and she basically said in her confessional, I trust the floor more so than I trust Martell. And she fell on the floor. Her thing was, I'm just going to fall on the floor. I don't want him touching me. She didn't want him touching him. She didn't want him touching her. Why are you pairing us up? And so when it was reversed and she's supposed to catch him, he actually went back, but he caught himself because he knew that Mel was not going to catch him. So he kind of like sat down in his fall. She walked off and he knew she was going to do that. Come on now. You know, yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what was up with Nell, but anyway, while they're doing their team building exercises, KEKE comes in. She arrives and she says, I'm here. And everybody's like, oh, okay. And they kind of look around the room. And she goes around the room and hugs people. And she gets, of course, the Tisha and Marcel. They kind of like turn their back, like they don't want none of that. But she proceeds to apologize to everyone in the room. And she wants to apologize for her behavior at Kimmy and Maurice's cookout. And she kind of like singles them out and really apologizes to them because it was their house and the party was for Kimmy. And her thing was, I know that day was about you and I made it about me and I am so sorry. And her thing was, I just want you to know I apologize. So Maurice was quick to say he accepted her apology. However, he did say it's been over a month and we're just getting this apology. Her thing was, well, I know what I did. And I guess she was embarrassed by it. So her thing was, I didn't know how to face you. So that was her reasoning for having it take so long. And Kimmy was like, "But it's been a month." Kimmy wasn't feeling it, and I don't know if Kimmy really ever accepted her apology. She just listened to her. So Kimmy's mean girl. I could see the mean girl because she was looked like she might have been upset because Kiki was there. I don't know why. I mean, I guess I do know why because it was her house that she disrespected. But okay, I think she was more so mad for the other two. You know, she was more mad than Tisha. Tisha wasn't even mad. I mean, I think she thought that other people were working against her in the house. She wasn't mad that Kiki was there, or maybe she was. I feel like she was upset that she was there, but she knew people knew about it and didn't tell her. So she felt betrayed by people in the house. Like that was, and she said no. But the way Nell told the story, Nell made it seem like Kiki and Mel talked, and Mel said, "Yeah, well, you need to call Nell and see if she'll invite you." But it wasn't. It made it seem like Kiki called Mel, and Mel gave her the idea to call Nell to invite her, but it wasn't like that. They were just sitting around talking. They showed the footage of how it actually went down, which made it seem like, oh, okay, they were just talking about it. And Kiki started out with, I want to apologize to my cousin, and so Mel was like, well, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, just call Nell and see if she'll invite you. She left it at that. Her thing was she ain't in it. That wasn't her thing. That wasn't her trip. But as Nell was talking and saying how Kiki had called her and that, she wasn't sure whether or not she should invite her or not, but she did say that it would be up to the house whether or not they wanted her there. And as she was talking, Tisha left the room. She was upset. She went into the kitchen, and then Marceau went after her and just letting her know that, and she was just telling Marceau she felt betrayed or whatever. So Nell comes in there after her and tells her that she's sorry and that she probably should have talked to her first, but she didn't. And she said her and Chris been arguing about it back and forth, but she just, and in her confessional, she said she has a soft spot for Kiki. I think Nell was being messy. I honestly do. She was trying to act like she was so upset that Tisha was upset. And she said, okay, she's not staying. She's going. You gonna invite this woman to Texas, even though Alabama ain't that far, a couple states over, right? Still, yeah, I don't know. Now seemed like she might be a little messy to me. So she goes back in and tells Kiki that she can't stay in the house. Or wait a minute, or did she say you can't stay here? I think she said you can't stay here. But Stormy jumped right in and said, okay, well, that's not a problem. She wasn't staying here anyway. I mean, her Stormy was like, she shouldn't have to go anywhere. She spoke up for her. Mel didn't. And I see that now that I'm talking about it. Mel didn't say anything about her staying. But or did she say something? I can't remember. She might have said something now that I'm thinking about it. But anywho, I think she just went to Nell and was trying to console her. That's what she did because Nell was acting like she was all upset about it. I don't know. So Kiki's like, okay, well, I'm not staying in the house. I don't think that was her intention to staying in the house. However, she said, I'm not going to let anybody dictate where it is I go and do not go. So, and so Nell was like, well, see, this is the energy I did not want. That's the energy I did not want. And somehow we went from that conversation to Martell getting upset. I can't remember how they got into that. He got upset because for some reason he felt like Nell was always taking a side with Mel, even though Melody cheated too in their relationship. And Stormy said it right. How you gonna cheat first and say, oh, because the second person cheated after you cheated, that they also, messed up the relationship too? No, you messed it up. His thing was her behavior changed. And he had been complaining about it, her behavior changing. So, and she would leave and go to hotels because she needed a break from you and the kids. She was doing everything. She was running the businesses. She was being a mom. She was being a wife when she felt like it, when she could fit it in, because she was running all the businesses. Clearly, she was running them because the proof is in the pudding. Where's Inez? Anybody know? How's it doing? And that's a white label service, right? He just bottling up another brand and putting Inez on top of it. Where is the suits that he was going in on with the guy from Baltimore? Is he from Baltimore, DC? Some whatever, one of them two cities. Where's that? I know he had the guy had launched his line or had a fashion show that he was a part of, but where can you buy Martell suits? He does look good in a suit, but can you buy his brand? What else does he have going on? What about the calendar? How did that go? Are the children's book, their plane ride to Canada, is that doing any? Is that profiting anything? Maybe it is. I don't know. We'll hear about it. It's like he just throwing things up against the wall just to see what will stick. Yeah. So she was doing all the work and she was tired and she would randomly go to hotels to get away. I've known people to do that. I have a family member that did it. She would leave the baby and her husband at home and she would go stay in a hotel for the weekend. She wouldn't leave him forever, but just 2 days. Give me 2 days to regroup. And she had one baby. So imagine three at the time, because I think at this particular time, only they had three. They didn't have sugar mama. So, I mean, he was going hard about how Melody cheated and how Melody did this, and everybody's blaming me. And well, it was your fault. I'm sorry, it was your fault. And I think he knows it's his fault. He is just trying to place blame elsewhere because he looks stupid. He messed up his family for 5 minutes of satisfaction, because that's all it took, I'm sure. And if you straight to it, you don't do no foreplay, because Melody said you don't like foreplay. I know you ain't going on for hours. For 5 minutes of pleasure, you messed up your family. And then you made a baby. Because Mel may have come back to you had there not been a baby. But the fact that you started cheating on her 2 years before she even found out. Then when she, I guess, addressed the situation, you never stopped dealing with her. Maybe it was on and off, but you never stopped really dealing with her. Allegedly. And now you have a baby. Same age, if not a year younger, or maybe same age as Sugar Mama. Just saying. So, and it's something about a man, like if you're just a man out here because you like women and they catch you with different ones, a couple of different ones, then that's something different. Maybe there's nothing to that. You just got a problem. But if you're still dealing with the same woman and it's been years, she can't stay away from you and you can't stay away from her, that's a problem. And Melody decided to just pack her bags and get out of the situation. I commend her. That's hard to do. That's why some women stay and deal with it for so long. You pack up your bags, pack up your kids, and go to court. Well, they had a little money on their side, both of them at the time. I think Melody has a little bit more. I think she manages her money better than Martell. Not saying Martell don't have nothing, but I think Melody knows how to manage hers a little better. Anywho, he goes back and forth with Nell, yelling at Mel. And Mel is like, I mean, not Mel, and Nell is like, I'm gonna slap him in his effing face. I'm sick of him. And blah, 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 blah. And she was getting heated. And her thing was, I'm walking away before Chris and him get into a fight. Well, y'all arguing back and forth. Chris ain't said nothing. First of all, ain't nobody yelling at my husband like that. No other woman, while I'm in his presence, is going to be yelling at my husband like that. And I would expect for my man to do the same thing if it came to one of his boys yelling at me going back and forth. He needs to put, hold up, man. You out of order. Bring it down. Now, Chris did say bring it down, but they neither one of them brought it down. But, and then she said, Melly, did you cheat on him? I'm asking right now, cameras rolling. Did you cheat on him? Her thing was, I left Martell, got my apartment. She said she went out on a few dates. That don't mean she did nothing with these men. I'm not saying she didn't do anything with the men. But you've been dealing with this woman for years. How is that even comparable? Martell. So, yeah, they go back and forth. And then finally, Chris pipes up. Well, actually, in the kitchen, Marceau was talking to Melody, and and informs Melody that Tisha thinks that you invited KEKE. And she was like, I didn't know KEKE was coming. I didn't know nothing about it. And she explained what happened. She said she told KEKE, to ask Mel to invite her if she wanted to come. And she had, she said, but I didn't. So she pulled Tisha to the side. Her and Tisha talked about it. They have grown. Like Tisha said, I think they're just tired of being mad with each other. Because it's like, what are you mad for now? Like, you can't stay mad forever. I mean, you can if you want to, but what's the point? You got to work together. Obviously, they're on the show. So why? I mean, it is what it is. You said what you said. I said what I said. Let's move on. Let's move forward. And so Melody let her know, I didn't invite her. I didn't even know she was coming. I knew nothing about it. And I think KEKE, it looked like KEKE was leaning like she could hear the conversation between Melody and Tisha. Like, seemed like she was trying to be more so into their conversation than anybody else was going, because it was just the way she had her head. But it could have been just the shot. And I don't know, maybe in editing. I don't know. But long story short, she said Keisha was okay. She believed it. She said, they moved on from there. So Chris pipes up and says, we're going horseback riding. And we have 15 minutes. And he said, I don't want to hear nothing about nobody want to go. I've already scheduled it. It's already planned. And that's where we're going. So they do. They go out to the ranch. They pick their horses based on the vibe. Kimmy doesn't like horses. She's terrified of horses. She didn't want to get on one, so she doesn't. So she stays back and she talks to the group therapist or whatever she is, a couple of therapists, and talks to her. And everybody else picks their horses and they go horseback riding. And I like horseback riding. It's cool. And when they come back, they meet in like this huddle on like different haystacks. They're all coupled up on haystacks and stuff. So it was brought up again, that the energy was off in the group. The evidently the group therapist picked up on the fact that everybody was tense when they got there, and so they started explaining the situation to her, and basically, Marceau is like, he said, "I haven't closed the door because of love. However, they're not ready to talk about it like right now. Like right now, it's not even wanted." And she asked Kiki, "Did she want to say anything?" She said, "Nope, I ain't got nothing to say." She's like real quiet. But then Marceau brought up the fact that Melody and Tisha had a conversation and that they've grown past their differences and that they were able to communicate exactly what transpired for Kiki to come to Texas, and that Melody has straightened it out that she didn't invite her. And I'm thinking that is what has sparked Kiki and her mom kind of going in on Melody. It makes sense now because usually Kiki has Melody's, support. And Melody usually has Kiki's back because her thing is, I don't feel it for Tisha. But her thing was, her and Tisha are in a better place. They're in a better space now because of communicating. And they can just communicate in the moment and not carry it on and let it, snowball over into something else and grow to the point where you don't even know what you're mad about anymore. So I'm thinking, I could be wrong. I'm thinking that that's part of what Kiki's problem is. So they go through all of that, and I think that's the end of the episode. Next week, you see that Martell is sitting down with Melody. Does he really want? I think at the time he really wanted her back, but I think his ego is crushed now. I think his ego is crushed now. Poor Martell. Anywho, please like, share, and subscribe. This episode, I think, is next to the last one. How many are going on? Is it 32 or 33? This is episode 30. So I don't know, maybe it'll be like maybe two more after this, I hope. Maybe. I don't know. Whew, this is a long season. And the thing of it is they're taping again. They're gonna be down for 2 months and they'll be back in February, March. Yeah. Anywho, y'all be good. And I will see ya when I see ya.